Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome as well. So today I'm going to be showing us the sewing process of how I drafted this corset. So join me, let me show you guys. So here is my cup, okay, and I used the pattern paper to draft out this cup. So I used my zigzag to stitch it together. So here is the fabric and the lining, and I'm going to be joining the fabric first. So everything I'm going to do on the fabric, I'll repeat the same thing on my lining. So here is the first thing I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew this, and after sewing it, I'm going to sew the second part of this as well. So once that is done, I'm going to take in my casing, but the first thing is to notch the center of the front piece. Okay, you notch this part and you also notch this part as well. So I'm going to start sewing my casing. You also sew it on the other side. I'll sew the casing on the other side of the dart as well. Just create any design you want with your casing. So this is a design I want for my own. Yours might be different from mine. So I'm done with all of the casing. So the next thing is to start stitching the cup. I already notched the bust point, so I'm just notching it so that it is more visible. So I'm going to place the notch parts on both cups. I'll place them together like this, okay, and then I'll start stitching. I'm going to repeat the same thing I'm doing on the fabric on the lining. So you should have something like this. Okay, you can see how beautiful this is looking like. You should have something like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place this cup inside of it. Okay, but before I place the cup inside, I'm going to be sewing a boning inside my cup. So first thing is to notch this part. Okay, the part that I sew, you're going to notch it out, and then you place them where you have the stitch, where you have the joining. The joining should be matching each other like this. Okay, then you take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. So you can see how I'm sewing it. So you should have something like this. So I'll flip it to the other side and then sew. Remember, I'm sewing from the middle, so you need to flip it to the other side so that you can sew the other side as well. So once I'm done sewing, I'll sew the other cup to this side, to the other side. Okay, so you should have something like this. So here is my pad. Like I said, I'm going to be sewing a boning inside of the pad. I'm just sewing one boning. Okay, so I've stitched my lining, and this is what my lining looks like as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to recut the neck. You can see I've notched all of the curved parts. Okay, so I want to recut the neck. So right now I've attached my pad, my wording to the fabric, and I use hemming gum to attach it, even though there's a gum on the wording, but I use hemming gum so that I'm sure that it is firm. So right here I'm recutting the neck. I want the neck to come down a little bit, so I'm recutting the neck. So I have to recut the pad as well so that it does not extend to the neckline. So I'm going to recut the armhole. Just place the back at the front and then use it to recut the front armhole. Just cut it to how you want it to be. So I'm going to place it on the other side to be sure that I have same thing on the other side of my armhole. Okay, I'm just trimming what I have. I'm trimming it off. So I'm placing the back on it again. So on the back, I added boning to the lining part. Okay, since I did not have a casing to, I did not have casing to the back, so I had to add boning to the lining instead. So I'm going to cut off the excess here. So right here now I'm joining the neck, the front neck with the lining, and I'm also using my hemming gum so that when I iron it, the lining will stick to the fabric. So after sewing, I'm going to notch my neck. I don't need to top stitch since I already sewed hemming gum on it. So right here I'm sewing the armhole area. After sewing the armhole area, make sure you also notch the armhole area. So I'm placing the front and back armhole together to be sure they are the same. So once you are sure they are the same, what you need to do is to put the back in between the front shoulder like this, and then take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. Pull it out like this. Okay, make sure they are equal, then go ahead and sew it down. After sewing it down, cut off the excess you have around there, and then flip it out again. So you should have something like this once you are done. So I'm going to start inserting my boning case, and I'm using a Regilian boning, which is a sewable boning. Okay, your boning should be ½ inch shorter than where you are going to be inserting it to. Okay, should be ½ inch shorter. So I also use my lighter to burn the edges. So go ahead and pass your boning inside the boning casing, and then you stitch the fabric and the line. You stitch it down so that you can secure the boning. So once you are done, you should have something like this. Okay, so the bent part should be facing up. You can see how bent it is. It should be facing up. Once you iron it, it will straighten up. So right here I've joined, I've taken my side seam, so I'm sewing it on the sewing machine. So this is going to be a gown, so I'm leaving about 1 inch space so that it will enable me to stitch this part to the skirt part of my gown. So once I'm done stitching it to the skirt part of my gown, I'm going to stitch it back at the side. So this is what it looks like. Okay, thank you guys for watching this video to the end, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So the only thing is that because this is a corset, princess dark corset, after joining, your neck will become a little bit wider, which is normal. Okay, thank you for watching this video to the end, and I'm going to see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye for now.